Hello everyone, welcome back to another multiplayer battle. This is going to be the Beastmen versus the Dark Elves. For my army, I am not going to be bringing a caster for this one. It's something that I sometimes just choose not to do. Instead, I put that money into a Cygor, because that's something else that I don't normally bring, but I really wanted to have the Cygor, and I really wanted to have everything else that we brought, so I'm like, you know what, we're just not going to have a caster today. So we brought a Cygor instead of a caster. You can imagine him as a caster. He's casting spells called Hurl Giant Boulder. And that's the only spell I took with the Cygor. It's a very expensive spell. Anyway, for the actual leader here, we have Morgor of the Shadowgate with his summoning abilities for the Chaos Bond. The main line is going to be 2 spearmen on the flanks, one right here and one on the other. And then 3 Bestigors in the middle with their armor piercing to try and fight and hold against the Dark Elf high-tier infantry. And then also brought a group of the Blackhorn Ravagers, the renowned group for the Goreherds. Just because I wanted to. Nothing too special about them. There's no Vanguard shenanigans being deployed or not really utilizing them for stalk. I just brought them because I think I had enough money at the time to bring them or just a normal Goreherd. So I was like, instead of upgrading a normal Goreherd, let's just bring these guys because I almost never do. But they have really decent melee defense with the 47, which is pretty high for a Goreherd, and they can also stalk, which is, you know, cool. Immune psychology because they're rowdy and all that stuff. I don't know, there's nothing too special about them other than they look cool and I had the money for them, so I brought them. They do look cool though. So that's going to be our main line, and then for the rest of our army, I have 3 Harpies, one over here, here, and then over here in the forest. And then we also have 2 Centaurs with great weapons and a pig. I was going to call him a puppy, but this is a group of pigs. We do have a puppy group over here with some Vanguard shenanigans. They exist. And now they don't. See how easy that is? They don't exist anymore. For the enemy forces, we have 1 group of Dark Riders, 2 groups of Cold One Knights here, which are pretty heavy damage dealing to anti-large. You also have Malekith riding on a Cold One, which I like, because you don't see this often. I brought him on a Cold One a few times. He still has really good stats on a Cold One. He still hits really hard. He still has the spells. Speaking of, we have the Gaze of Malice, which is actually just a Lord ability. We also have the Soul Stealer, the Chill Wind, and the Power of Darkness. All of these are very good spells, I think, of this lore. They're all really good. No, I don't think any really argument can be made against that. Those are 3 good solid spells. For the midline, if you want to call it a midline, we have 2 Dark Shards with shields, and then their infantry is going to be composed of 5 Blackguards of Naggarond. That is a lot of armor-piercing anti-large units, and very scary. One of which you can see I've already hit with one of our magical spells from our mage, the Cygor, over here. But that's very scary. Very, very scary. And it's still scary. Anyway, let's go. So we're going to have some early movement here on the mobile forces of the Cold Ones and the Dark Riders. I'm going to throw Morgor out here to try and bait a charge from the enemy so that we can hopefully countercharge with our pigs. And we're going to be bringing our 2 Centaur forces out of the forest. And again, we do have puppies. They do exist on the battlefield, I will say that. Anyway, over here, I'm going to try and get a charge from the enemy mobility onto our pigs, because I didn't want our Centaurs to absorb the charge from the Cold One Knights, and so I'm trying to get the Centaurs into combat position here. We also threw a group of Spirits in here as well, and I want to try and do a counter charge, but the counter charge was not really that great because we kind of charged through our own units, and the Blackguards are going to be here, so I'm not going to be able to stay here that long. So really what happened is that our pigs kind of died. They absorbed the charge like I wanted to, but then I didn't have a really good counter charge ready, even though it was coming, it wasn't there in time. Going to charge down here with their Blackhorn Ravagers. They are not going to be able to do too much against Blackguards. Blackguards are really heavily armored. They have really good melee defense, but there's really not much else for them to fight besides the Dark Shards. But you can see that we already have our Harpies fighting against the Dark Shards. We have a summoned group of Chaos Spawn, which already took a bunch of damage from the Blackguards because I summoned them over here. You can see they're already mostly dead. Going in here too, and we're going to be throwing Morgor into the Dark Shards as well. Another group of Harpies is going to be coming in here. I think I may do a rear charge on the Blackguards, I think, or maybe I'll throw them into the Spears, I can't remember. But anyway, we're going to have another engage here with our 2 Centaurs. This group took heavy damage from the Blackguards as we were pulling out, but we are going to be able to do a lot of good damage in the charge there against these Dark Riders and the remaining Cold One Knights here. I believe they still do have 1 Cold One Knight hanging around somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong. They did have 2. I guess maybe we have already shattered the other one. Oh no, there they are. They're rampaging over here when fighting against these Chaos Spawn and trying to help with the Harpies and all that. I believe they're trying to stop our aggressiveness against the Dark Shards, but they ended up rampaging right here, and they're actually not doing anything, which is really weird that they're out of control and they're not actually aggroing to anything. That must be a bug or something. But anyway, we have some units coming back from rounding over here, and I believe I do pull these Harpies in. But still no movement from the puppies. I bring these in, but not the puppies. Dark Shards is coming back online. I believe I'm going to be flying the Harpies in there. Morgor is going to be coming back in here to help these 2 Bestigors fighting against these 2 Blackguards, which is kind of just a very long fight. Meanwhile, over here, The Blackhorn Ravagers are doing what they can, but they are fighting against Malekith and 2 of the Blackguards of Nagaron, so it is only a matter of time. We're going to be throwing, or trying to throw some Bestigors in there as reinforcements for this horde, but they are going to be destroyed. And right now, my plan is just to try and hold these Blackguards as much as I can, as long as I can, with whatever I can, to try and ensure that our mage, the Cygor here, is able to cast a lot of rock hurls into their formation and hopefully kill a bunch of them. That is right now my goal for the most part. That's all I'm really thinking about. I remember in this battle is I just need to stop all of these from getting onto the Cygor so that they can do some damage, because the rocks do a lot of damage when they hit. Which we got kind of a decent right there. So that's where I'm trying to get my Bestigors peeled off from over here, and we're going to throw them into this Blackguard of Nagaron. I believe I throw my Harpies into this Blackguard of Nagaron because I want to try and separate them. I don't want our Bestigors to be fighting against 2 of these at the same time, so we're going to throw our Harpies in here, just try and delay them as much as possible. But they're actually going to kind of just run through and I think actually pull into the Cygor, and then we're going to run our I want to call them puppies. We're going to run our pigs in there, and I believe our Centaurs may... Actually, our Centaurs I think are going to be coming over here. We're going to run our Spearhead over here, though. But anyway, Malekith's going to do a nice recharge on this Bestigor unit who was already really low on their morale, so they're actually going to be breaking here against the Blackguards and Malekith. The Harpies are doing an okay job at just keeping these Blackguards at bay. Remember, the Harpies are considered a small creature, so the Blackguards do not get the bonus versus large, which enables them to help fight this battle a little bit longer than normally. Say if they were, you know, like a large creature. So again, we're kind of sacrificing our pigs right here against the Blackguards and our Harpies because I'm trying to buy time to get our caster out of the way. We'll be throwing these Blackguards, these Blackhorn Ravagers, I believe we'll be throwing them in here sooner or later. And meanwhile, back here, Morgor and our 2 Centaurs and 2 Bestigors, what remains of them, managed to destroy this group of Blackguards in Nagaron. And now we're going to be trying to move them up here. And right now we're trying to stall for as long as possible to buy as much time for our Cygor to get away from this chunk of 3 Blackguards, who are all, I mean, they're damaged. This one is still relatively healthy, though. Malekith is also still relatively healthy. But again, we're just running this way to try and buy time for our faster Beastmen units to try and catch up to this group, and so that we can engage and make sure that the Cygor can still throw their rocks into all of those Blackguards. Because honestly, like, we still have some Bestigors, but they're kind of beat up. Our Centaurs don't have much of a chance against them alone, so we kind of need the Cygor's rocks to do a lot of damage here. What was actually cool right here is that I ran my pigs in here against, I think it was Malekith, and then the Cold One Knights actually all piled up on like 2 of them, and so the pigs actually absorbed all of the charge damage instead of the Cygor. Well, it's not planned for that way. It's just kind of how the pigs were positioned, that all these Cold Ones wasted their charge on the pigs themselves, so it was beautiful. So anyway, we're going to disengage once again, and right here I'm going to try and threaten the enemy's backline, so you can see that makes them stop, and they're going to try and take this charge, which is a good idea, but this is not a hard commit. We're actually going to try and just pull back, and right now I'm just trying to harass them to try and again buy time for the Cygor to get out of here. So we're going to do the same thing right there. I was trying to get them to turn around, but it's going to be at this point that the enemy sees themselves surrounded with the Bestigors coming up and Morgor, who's also relatively untouched, and they are actually going to say the GG, and that is going to be an end for this army of Dark Elves. Now, I think the battle was ended a little prematurely, but I also do think that we had them at that point because the infantry forces, we still had a decent chunk of Bestigors left, backed up by Morgor, and I think they would have been able to hold the Blackguards there for the Cygor to rain the rocks of destruction. They still have a lot of ammunition, and then we still could throw them into melee. Granted, melee Cygor against a bunch of Blackguards is not where you want them, but if they're out of ammunition anyway, might as well do it. So I think I would have eventually won, but I do think I would have suffered a lot of losses because those Blackguards are pretty tanky, and the Bestigors would have eventually chewed through them eventually, but also with Malekith still relatively healthy. I mean, who knows? If they managed to kill Morgor, maybe that would have went their way instead, but I guess the enemy just kind of just thought they were done. They were surrounded. I had some mobile forces left, so in their minds, maybe they thought that that could just charge them over and over and over again, which I would have. I would have definitely tried to set up rear charges with our Centaurs against those Blackguards over and over and over again to try and whittle them down. And like I said, we probably would have won. But in any case, good game to Parmigiano. Our mage there, the Cygor, got 73 kills with their rock curling spell, so I'm very proud of our mage of the Cygor lore. Pretty cool. Morgor only got 22 kills, and honestly, their spawn, I summoned 2k out of spawn, but for the most part, they died to the Blackguards. It was only until like they were at 50% health that I even managed to run them into the Dark Shards, which is like the only target they had that they would do okay against. But yeah, they just got destroyed by those I was not expecting 5 Blackguards. And if I had brought a more monster-focused army, you know, like a Minotaur-heavy army, then that would have been really bad. I actually got really lucky that I chose 3 Bestigors. Not a build I typically do. I don't typically choose a lot of Bestigors in my Beastman armies. I like to go more Minotaur-heavy and Centaurs and stuff. But yeah, if I went Minotaur heavy like this, that was probably a GG. But luckily, my Bestigors held the line for a long time, and In any case, enough rambling here. Let's go watch a cinematic view of the fight. Know that spell. Sometimes the rock hurl spell is really accurate. Sometimes it's not. It's a scary line of infantry here. But if they had like had 2 executioners and then 3 blackguards instead, whew, that could have been even worse. Because those executioners most likely would have killed the Bestigors pretty quickly, especially when the murderous prowess kicked in. But I see why it's tempting to go a ton of anti-large against Beastmen. They just got cut up here. I should have never charged them in there. I was trying to get greedy by trying to wipe out those cold ones quick. My Cygors, they were paid a price. Harpies are definitely one of my favorite units of the Beastmen. I just love that they're small. Like, if they were considered large, I would probably almost never use them in a lot of the matchups. But since they're small, it's just they can get away with some more stuff. Why kill the infantry line when you can just fly over them? Also, I kind of have Morgor out of position there. Chasing those Dark Shards with him was probably not the best use of him. I should have had him over here the whole time. I did the right move by keeping him away from Malekith, though. That was definitely a good move. Little piggies. There we go, wrapping up the black cards over there. And then here you can see the charge and how the pigs, like, they line up their bodies perfectly on accident to absorb, I believe, like all of the cold ones. And they shattered in the middle of their charge, but they still took the hits. So here we go. They charge Malekith. I'm like, get off my mage, and then boom, 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 boom. They shatter here, and they still took like everything. Perfect. guys look so cool. So edgy, but really cool. What happened to those puppies? Well, they got to live to fight another day, you know? I felt bad for the pups. I get them killed in almost all the games I played, so I willingly and purposefully left them in the corner and said, hey, you know what, pups? You get this one off. This is your day off. This is your one time. Totally on purpose. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Take care.